She just sucks, okay? And I'm not just saying
Yes.
that because she's a female. I would have the exact same criticisms if she was a man.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Comics Clash. It's Isaiah. I just got done watching the season finale of She-Hulk, and I gotta say, I'm really mad. But before we get into the video talking about what I hated about She-Hulk, and just how I'm really despising the MCU in Phase 4 as of right now, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you love movie and comics. With that said, let's dive into it. So, I don't like to hate on shows or anything like that. I don't like to hate on movies or something that people create. But She-Hulk definitely deserves to be hated on. Before we dive into everything that I hated about the show, let's dive into a few minor good things that the show had going for it. I thought it was pretty entertaining, and I found myself going back to it each and every week to watch the new episode. Even if I didn't like the show at all, it was kind of entertaining, and I had some mild enjoyment out of it. And also Daredevil was pretty great. They did him kind of justice. I thought they were going to completely ruin his character after the track record of the first 7 episodes, but overall they did a pretty good job with him. A few other things here and there. I liked Wong in the show and Abomination. They're pretty cool. But other than that, the show really sucks. So let's dive into everything that sucked about the show. So first, for starters, there's no real story at all. Marvel just rushed this show so bad. They made it so that it was like every episode was different. You're following She-Hulk on her little adventures or whatever. But the point of making a show or a movie is to actually build up to something. And when She-Hulk was building up to something, they actually screwed it up so bad in this finale. They just made it so sloppy and lazy. Instead of doing an actual kind of ending with the battle in Intelligentsia, which would have been better than nothing, they gave us literally nothing. She-Hulk goes into Marvel Studios and then beats up some guys and talks to Kevin, the robot that's making the show, and then the show just ends. That's it. She talks to Kevin, he gets rid of all the problems or whatever, and then the show just ends. There's no final battle, no ending plot, no final character growth for She-Hulk, nothing at all. And it's just so stupid because they're just building it up to nothing. They knew that in the finale they were going to have nothing. And then they started the Intelligentsia plot and the stuff with Abomination and whatever, and then they built up to nothing. Overall, the build up was fine. It was enough to actually have a finale, but then the finale was just nothing. It was literally just nothing. I would have rather had that messy finale that made no sense instead of nothing. But overall, they messed up the story so much, and it wasn't really interesting seeing Jen in her normal life, and then her being She-Hulk and all the random stuff that was going on in her life and the different stories that happened throughout the show. I didn't really like that. I just wanted something that we could actually build up to. Learn about our characters, learn about the story, and everything's building up just like most of the other MCU shows did. They actually had a convoluted story, and you could get invested inside the character, and then you could learn about the story and just how everything plays out. But no, She-Hulk just ended it with nothing, and it was just so dumb. The second thing that I really hated about She-Hulk was the character. Mostly Jen, but Jen is just an unlikable lead. She has her moments where I actually kind of enjoy her, like in episode 7, where she has the support group and you actually get to learn about her. That was actually smart. They actually did a good job with that. But then they just screw it up in the finale, and they just make Jen still more unlikable than ever. And I'm not saying Jen is bad just because of all the feminism stuff, but she's actually a really unlikable character. She's annoying. She thinks the world revolves around her, and she thinks that her problems are so important and way more important than everybody else, but she doesn't realize what Bruce went through, what everyone else around her has actually went through, and how she just threw Abomination in jail at the end. That was kind of mean, because Abomination kind of was changing. I don't think he really knew about what was happening with Intelligentsia, and I actually think Abomination was changing for the good, but then he's get puts in there for a 10-year sentence. I'm glad that Wong broke him out. But I just really don't like Jen as a character. She's annoying, she's unlikable. Other than some few moments that she had with Daredevil and the stuff that happened in episode 7, I just really dislike Jen. The other characters are fine, they're okay. I think they do a great job in supporting Jen as the lead. I think Nikki and Pug are actually pretty enjoyable, and I actually like them more than Jen. Wong, Abomination, Daredevil, they're all fine. Daredevil was done justice. I actually really liked him in the show. But also we got our main villain, Todd, who's just so annoying. Like, jeez, they could have came up with a way better villain for this show than Todd. Todd is absolutely just the worst. Like, who the hell wants to be around Todd? He's weird, he's creepy, and it makes sense that he made Intelligentsia, but why is he the main villain of the show? There's nothing that makes him an interesting villain at all. And yeah, he was just unlikable. Anyway, now that we got the characters out of the way, let's talk about some other stuff. The CGI is absolutely ass, and then they make fun of it in the finale, but they don't do anything to change it. They just make fun of it, and they're like, oh yeah, we don't have a big enough budget. You're freaking Disney. You're a multi-trillion-dollar company, and you don't have enough money to make She-Hulk actually look realistic? It's so stupid. Like, they make fun of their own product and then they just don't do anything to change it. It was really stupid. There's bad CGI throughout the show. The fight scenes suck. And yeah, they just mess up a lot with the CGI, mainly just how She-Hulk looks. And then the voiceover when she's talking just looks really weird and it doesn't match with the mouth. It's just really weird. And then we got the crappy comedy to talk about. This show was not funny at all. There are a few jokes that land like with Wong and the Avengers and the Avengers and stuff like that. But overall, it was just super unfunny. It was really cringy, most of the jokes. And most of the jokes, I was just sitting there and I'm like, Marvel, why is this happening? Why are these jokes so bad? This show just makes me really angry, and the comedic style that they take, it's not quippy, it's not interesting like in the other Avengers movies or in any other MCU project. It's just really weird and it feels really forced, just like in Love and Thunder. I think Love and Thunder and She-Hulk have a similar issue with the comedy, and it just feels really forced and off-setting, and I really didn't like it. One more thing that I definitely had a problem with about this show is the wall breaking. The fourth wall breaking didn't make any sense at all. They just throw it randomly throughout the entire show until the finale, where it actually kind of makes sense why they're breaking the fourth wall, but overall breaking the fourth wall kind of ruined the show as well. It just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't feel natural for the MCU to break the fourth wall, and I really didn't like it. I didn't like when She-Hulk was talking to the camera and narrating her own life. It just didn't feel right. And also, they were very inconsistent with what was happening during the fourth wall breaking, because She-Hulk saying something, it's just going through the random episode, and then she breaks the fourth wall randomly, and it only happens like twice an episode, and it's just really weird. It happens rarely, and they're very inconsistent with what happens with the fourth wall breaking. It just doesn't feel right to have it inside of this show. Now that I got my general issues out of the way, let's dive into the finale, because I really want to talk about how this finale just messed up the entire show so bad. Even though the show was already bad, I was thinking it was going to redeem itself after the Daredevil episode, which I really liked, but no, it just absolutely obliterated everything that it was trying to go for. And yeah, let's dive into the episode breakdown. So we start off with this weird intro that makes no sense. It's just like an homage to like the old Hulk show or whatever. It's really weird. I don't get why they added that into the show. She-Hulk is not able to use her powers, is where we start off in the show. And then we just follow her. She's depressed. She moves in with her parents. She loses her job, all that stuff. Nikki forms a plan with Pug to go investigate Intelligentsia, while Jen goes over to see Abomination because she wants to talk. And that's where it all comes together and just completely gets ruined. So Pug's interrogating people at the meeting for Intelligentsia, and you get to hear the conversation that he's having with some of them. And then Jen walks in, and Abomination's there, and it's just so weird. It falls apart together, right? You get to see how it all gets so messy. Hulk shows up for some reason. Titania shows up for some reason, right? It gets all messy, and then She-Hulk just, like, breaks the fourth wall again, and she's like, no, this is not how this show is supposed to end. Don't exit Disney Plus or whatever. And they do some really weird thing where they just take the easy way out, and they just make it so freaking sloppy, which makes me so pissed off, because the show put no effort into the finale at all, and they just took the really easy way out. They knew they had a messy show. They knew no one really enjoyed what was going on with their show, and knew that the finale could just clean it all up, but it actually didn't. So in this finale, She-Hulk goes into the Disney Plus screen. She goes into Assembled, where it's just a show about the Marvel creators and how they like make the different shows. And she goes into the Assembled, and then she finds the group that makes She-Hulk, and she's like, no, this is not how my show's supposed to end. Or she's like, this is really weird, why is this happening? And then she goes to Kevin, right, which is not actually Kevin Feige, it's just this weird Kevin robot. And she goes to talk to him, and he like just gets rid of all the problems that happened in this convoluted plot, right? He gets rid of Titania, he gets rid of Hulk, and he just makes it all normal again, right? And this is where I get so pissed off. We just go back into the real world, and everything's solved. Everything is solved. All the problems that She-Hulk had, everything is solved. Matt's there, and they have a good time. They have a picnic, they have some brunch, and then Hulk brings his son, and that's it. And can I talk about Hulk's son's hairline for a second? Like, what the hell is this shit? Oh my god. But then, yeah, the show just ends. It's all happy go lucky, whatever. Like, it's so stupid. Marvel took the easy way out on this show, and it was really just a waste of time. This episode was really dumb, and it just kind of messed everything up for Marvel. I really didn't like it at all. And then, yeah, Hulk's son, it kind of made sense that they introduced him. That was like one of the only things that actually made sense for the story to happen. Yeah, it definitely made sense why Hulk was in space, and he was on Sakaar for a long time, so it did make sense that he had like some other relationship on that planet, and he does have a son. So I guess it kind of makes sense for that. And then we get the post-credit scene with Abomination and Wong, which is also pretty fun. Kind of like that, but overall, Marvel just made this episode really lazy, and they just didn't put any effort into it. They're like, you know what, screw this. Let's just make it all happy-go-lucky and erase all our mistakes. I can just imagine one of the writers of the show just being like, how about we do nothing for the finale? What do you think about that, guys? And then they're all just cheering and clapping, and that's what happened to the show. Anyway, now that I got the episode review out of the way and just everything that I didn't really like about the finale and how it messed everything up, let's just get into my final thoughts on the MCU as a whole right now and everything that's happening with Phase 4. So overall, I really have been disliking Phase 4. There have been some high moments of it, but there's no really interesting connective story that gets me intrigued, and no really likable new characters except for like Shang-Chi. But yeah, it's just not really interesting anymore. I feel just like a chore to watch MCU shows and movies now. I'm excited for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and I really hope they don't mess it up. I think they can do a really good job with it. They had a huge budget, and it is a 2 hour and 44-minute runtime, so I'm excited to see what they do with this movie, and I really hope it just brings me back the joy and excitement that I got from the MCU back in the day of the Phase 3 of the MCU. But now that Marvel's been taken over by Disney, it seems that Disney is kind of running a lot of decisions that Marvel is doing, and they're just making their movies so cheap, and they're just forcing fans to go see the movies, and they're actually not delivering at all with quality, and it's just quantity over quality. I've been saying this for a while, and they're just spamming out content. They're pumping out a bunch of garbage so they can get enough of an audience to make some money, and that's just how Disney is. They're only in it for the money. They're not in it for the fans. Marvel was actually in it for the fans back in Phase 3, back in Phase 2. Everything was actually making sense, and they actually wanted the fans to be happy, and they came to a satisfying conclusion of Endgame. But as of right now, I gotta say the MCU is dead. And with that said, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys watched this whole video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and comment your thoughts on She-Hulk. I'd really love to hear what you guys saw of the show, because I know I'm not the only one that hated it, and I know there are some people that really enjoyed it. So just tell me what you thought about the show. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.